I'm kind of pitching myself here as somebody who's an experienced investor, but always, I'm definitely new to this business as well. I just want to speak about this product and just how much, it has really helped me, propel myself, get better with talking with sellers, actually be able to close a deal. My strategies right now have been primarily direct mail, cold calling, and cold texting. And I've found a lot of success with Real Estate IQ, especially being able to get in front of customers, have engaging conversations. And of course, I'm hoping to use all of that to build my own business and eventually retire off.
Excited to be here, and I want to say a big thank you to Real Estate IQ. They have the absolute top leads in the industry and just make investing effortless for all of us as real estate investors here in Texas and obviously everywhere else that they're focused. And I'm proud to be associated with Real Estate IQ. Love what you guys do and love how you all help investors so that we can focus on the thing that makes us the most money, which is the job of real estate investing.
I wanted to jump on this morning and give a shout out to Real Estate IQ. I began my journey with them a few years ago, just using some of the more basic products, the off-market leads. And since then, growing and visiting and talking with not only Steve, but other people who are involved with Real Estate IQ, I've had the opportunity to actually not only be a client, but I also became an investor with them. And that is one of the beauties of being able to be part of Real Estate IQ, is it gives you the opportunity to grow as an investor, especially in real estate.
Welcome to your 3-minute update on the U.S. real estate market as of late June 2025. Let's take a look first of the market overview. The U.S. housing market is experiencing a notable shift. After years of tight inventory and rapid price growth, the landscape is changing. Inventory is rising, sales are mixed, and affordability remains a central challenge. Home sales took a significant hit in May, dropping 13.7% from April and falling over 6% compared to last year. This is the lowest level seen since the pandemic, with the South seeing the steepest declines. In contrast, existing home sales surprised on the upside, ticking up 0.8% in June for the second straight monthly gain, though they remain slightly below last year's pace. Inventory is building across the country. There are now over 500,000 new homes for sale, enough to last nearly 10 months at the current sales pace. This marks a clear move toward a buyer's market, especially in the South and West, where new construction has outpaced demand. For sellers, this means more competition and a growing need to price homes realistically. About 40% of homes are now selling below asking price, and price cuts are increasingly common. Despite the inventory surge, prices are still edging up. The median new home price is $426,600, up 3% from last year. Existing home prices are also rising, with the median now at $422,800. However, with more homes sitting on the market longer, the pace of price growth is expected to moderate. Mortgage rates have dipped slightly but remain high, with the average 30-year fixed rate at 6.76%. This keeps monthly payments elevated and continues to sideline many potential buyers, especially first-timers. Cash buyers and investors are stepping in to fill some of the gap, now accounting for over a quarter of all sales. The Northeast and Midwest are outperforming, with modest sales and price gains thanks to better affordability and steadier demand. Meanwhile, the South and West are seeing slower sales and more unsold inventory, as higher prices and rapid construction outpace local demand. Buyers now have more options and negotiating power, but high rates still limit affordability. Sellers must adapt to increased competition, price strategically, and be prepared for longer sales cycles. Investors should watch for opportunities in regions where demand is holding up, particularly the Northeast and Midwest. The market's next moves will depend on mortgage rates and broader economic trends. If rates fall, pent-up demand could return. For now, expect a more balanced market, with buyers gaining leverage and sellers needing to adjust to new realities. That's your 3-minute market snapshot. Stay tuned for further updates as the market continues to
Hey, welcome everybody to another episode of our Deal Makers Life, where we're going to talk about different case studies, different deals that are actively moving right now, and we're going to also share some entrepreneurial knowledge that every entrepreneur should know. And today we have a really awesome segment here that talks about the new tax bill that we have. All right, so let me get started by introducing the host organization. This event is brought to you by Real Estate IQ, which is a deal finding and deal making company. We have a wide range of solutions. The bestseller is our off-market motivate seller leads, where we mine the freshest data so you can do outreach directly to the homeowners and get them under contract. Okay, a couple of success stories or track records. We chose a few to feature here. Justin got, I think, just in 5 to 6 months with using the off-market lead, he was already ready to got a couple of his properties, and now he's just got an influx of new leads, and he's thriving in Texas. Okay, here we got the number. Ismail has an average revenue per deal about 8,000, and he's a active wholesaler. You might have done business with him. He actually have a couple of additional kind of outlier cases. Here we see 10 transactions averaging 8,000. He's got some deals where he made I think some $88,000 case studies as well. And then Daryl also got 4 deals under contract, including 2 large properties, and he got over $1 million under contract. Okay, just in like 9 to 10 months. So lots of track record, lots of traction, from our clients, and you can also enjoy that as well. All right, disclaimer for our upcoming program. This information is for educational purposes only, and always do your due diligence before making any investment decisions. And if you need closing a deal, you got some hot leads that you have, a motivated seller, for example, we can help you close it. Our community has a lot of experienced closers, right? Real estate investors that just thrive at meeting homeowners and connecting with them and closing the deal. And then we can do some kind of deal partnership. So if you got leads, send them my way. Today we have a slew of speakers. There's yours truly. We also have Tamla, who we're gonna invite up shortly for our case studies. She is a real estate investor with decades of experience. She has done tons of deals. Randy's not joining us today, but today we'll have John joining us. He's back from his vacation, and he's gonna bring us this really awesome tax bill and also kind of basic tax information that every entrepreneur should know. So got a full program here. And if you have any questions or you want to introduce yourself on the chat, we want to welcome you to do so. This is our agenda for today. So let's get started. So first of all, we got a market update. What we're seeing is that foreclosure rates are rising, but still well below the crisis level. Let me pull up my my blip here. So as of August, foreclosure filings have risen 6 straight months year over year, and we're up 18% from the same period in 2024. And roughly 188,000 properties had foreclosure filings, putting the United States on track to surpass roughly 322,000 properties that went into foreclosure last year. So something to keep in mind. It could be interesting news for us real estate investors. And then a couple of case, we do have a case study, and I'm going to invite Tamla up here now. Hey, Tamla.
Hello, good morning,
Happy Thursday.
everyone. How's everyone this morning?
Wonderful. Full of energy.
Good. Good. This is going to be an awesome, awesome week. It's already started out that way. Let's talk a little bit about this last project that Steve and I are working on. We acquired this about 2.5 weeks ago. This is another small town venture, Groesbeck, Texas. It's a little 3-bedroom, 1-bath that we purchased. And it was an investment home here in Groesbeck. And I guess the owner was ready to retire. So we were able to pick this up for $42,000, which I think is an awesome deal. It appraised at $165,000, and we have started working on it. The first things were cleaning up the property. And as you can see there, we started working on cleaning up the trees and cleaning up the properties. And as of yesterday, all of the overgrown shrubs around the house had been trimmed or cut back. So, and Steve doesn't have pictures of those, but it is really looking good. We're very much ready for the contractor to get in there. And actually, I'm meeting him this afternoon. So we're ready to get started on it.
And Tamla, I drove by about 2 weeks ago, and I saw the grass was very high.
Yes. And it is
figure,
looking
summer,
good.
and we just closed, and so it's time to get it cleaned up and get it going.
Yes. And to give a little story on this house, that the interior of the house is actually in very good shape. It does need foundation work. The foundation crew will start next week. It should take them about 2 days to repair the foundation because this house is on pier and beam. So it won't take them that long to do the repairs. And then once they're finished, the contracting crew will get in and we will start the remodeling. The kitchen is actually in good shape. We are intending on making this a rental property. So we're not bringing it up to what I would consider flip level. And like I said, the kitchen's in very good shape. It does have a tile countertop. The tile countertop is very nice, so we are going to be leaving it. The cabinets were replaced a few years ago, and they still look very good. We will be patching the walls after the foundation crew is finished up, replacing some of the flooring possibly. This is all really going to depend upon how much is going to be torn up after the foundation people have finished up.
Right.
And repainting, putting in some new light fixtures. There is some rotted wood on the outside, but in reality, this house is really in good condition. We will freshen it up with a new coat of paint on the outside. The garage door, the garage was converted to bedroom number 3, but they left the garage door there, or part of the garage door anyway, I will say, and we will be changing that up somewhat, but giving this house a new facelift, a fresh coat of paint, some new landscaping will just really make this house pop. We will be putting in a central air and heat system. The ductwork is already there, so we will be replacing the parts that need to be replaced, but keeping the original ductwork. The windows in the house, we will need to be replaced, so we will be replacing those. They're the original old wood windows. They are not functional. So, and a lot of them already has the glass panes knocked out of it. So we're gonna be replacing those. This property is on a really large lot for the area. And you can really see how large it is now that the tree crew has been in there cleaning up the underbrush and all the trees and everything. Yesterday, they were actually, you see the back fence, or that's actually the side fence. But the second picture to the right shows the back fence of the property. And actually, the property line goes past that fence, probably another 20 to 25 feet. So I didn't realize that there was that much space behind the fence until the cleanup crew actually got back there and were cleaning it up. Taking out all of the underbrush and trimming up the trees. And it's really a very large lot.
Right.
So very happy with this purchase. Really looking forward to getting in here and getting this done. Believing that we can probably rent this property for $1,600 to $1,800 a month. And that's after talking with our property manager on this property. So, and as we go along with the renovations of this property, we'll be bringing you more and more pictures and more information on it. So.
Yeah, we'll keep everyone up to date. So, Tamara, my question for you is: this a converted garage? Do you intend to convert it back or keep it as a bedroom?
Since this is going to be a rental property, we're going to keep it as a bedroom. If we were flipping this property, I would convert it back to a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, and put the garage back in. Yes.
And I know we were exploring, for a different property that has a bigger lot to kind of put another rental unit on the lot. Like, what are your thoughts on this?
I'm going to talk with the city to see if they will allow us to put another unit on this property. I know that the city requires an 8-foot easement on each side of the building. So I need to get a very good measurement of how big that space is, how wide it is. It's definitely deep enough, but I need to see how wide it is and see if we could do that. And then I'd have to talk with the city about it to see if that's a possibility. But it's definitely, if we can't get another like rental unit on there, we could probably build a garage, a 1-car garage or even a 2-car garage on it, because there's not going to be that 8-foot easement on one side if we were to build a garage back there. But then again, we have to look at the numbers. We'd have to look at all of that. I was just very happy to see that we have a much bigger lot than what we had the square footage there, but actually looking at it and seeing the size of it gives you a whole different, you start thinking about, what can I do here? So
when I drove by, I couldn't tell, I guess. And then when I saw the photo, I'm like, how big is this lot? I started looking at the numbers.
Yes, it's a really big lot, because most of the lots in Groesbeck, just the regular lots, are not this much square footage. They're not this big. So very happy with that. Very happy with the purchase price. Why did you decide to rent instead of flip? We decided to rent instead of flip because Groesbeck, Texas is in dire need of really good rental properties that are affordable. This is a small town, and in many small towns, the rental products that are on the market, rental housing that is on the market, a lot of them are not in really good shape. And Groesbeck has fallen in that category. And And I don't know if y'all know this. I grew up in Groesbeck. This is closer. This is my hometown, and I left, and we moved back. My husband and I moved back about 2 years ago. So looking at the town now compared to what it was growing up here, it's changed drastically. Rental property is almost non-existent, something that I would live in. Let me put it that way. When we moved here, we looked for a house to rent and couldn't find one that we would live in. So we ended up buying a house here, and actually we've got it on the market now too. So hopefully we'll get it sold. We're going to be moving out in the country into a house that belonged to my grandparents. So, but in the meantime, Steve and I have really taken on the mission of making these houses livable and making them affordable. I'm a true believer that every human being on the face of this earth deserves a decent place to live. And this town definitely needs that. We also purchase property in other small towns. They are also in dire need of really good rental properties. We have not had an issue of renting our properties because they are good. They're good. They're nice. People want to live in them. So when we get them when we finish them and put them up for rent, our property manager has no problem renting them.
Yeah, it seems like they don't stay on the market for too long. Just like
they don't.
The moment it goes on, a couple of days later, it's taken.
It is.
You get an application. And then another thing that for Groesbeck that I like is that it's in the opportunity zone.
Yes.
And properties and investments that go into the opportunity zone, there are a lot of favorable tax treatments, which I'm not going to go into here today. And I just looked it up. The opportunity zone program has been extended indefinitely by the One Big Beautiful bill. So that's a very exciting thing that we should kind of continue to look at, actually, and maybe for everyone.
It would probably be a good idea for us to do a show on the opportunity zone and why it is so good. Some of our future shows could probably be that, because
that's a good idea.
The opportunity zone, building, buying, rehabbing in an opportunity zone is good for everyone involved, even the end user, because it's usually affordable housing. And places that are designated as opportunity zones, they need the housing. They
want to encourage the economic development in the area.
Yes.
Cool. Thank you. And very, very exciting stuff, and something to kind of look forward to. And then I'm kind of building up for our next speaker, John, too, talking about the tax advantages and all that. Okay. Thank you, Tamla.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Oh, and now we are ready to talk about our next segment with our next speaker, Mr. John Huang. John is our executive partner at Real Estate IQ, a very good friend of mine. And I think he just had a couple of long trips and really relaxed from the vacation now. So now he's back to share some knowledge with wealth building. And I think I was just talking to my wife that as we kind of gain more, being in business for longer, like we really need to understand more and more of the tax code, because really by understanding that, then we can really kind of plan how to do a business and also kind of real estate in the right way. that really kind of aligns with the wealth building. So without further ado, Mr. John Huang, the stage is yours.
Wonderful.
Oh, we just, I guess we lost John for a moment. I'm sure he's going to come back. Pamela has to run to one of the properties that we have to meet with a contractor. For now, while John is coming back, I have some backup content. And then when he comes back, we'll come back to this, okay? So here we have, oh, John's back. Okay. So I'm going to go back to your topic, John. Oh, we lost him again. So let's talk about some featured deals that we have. Today, we're going to feature a couple of deals in Michigan, actually. So we got 2 deals in Michigan. This one is pretty close to downtown. These 2 both are, actually. And I see John is back. John, do you have a slide deck prepared?
Yeah, I do have slides. Go ahead and finish the other deals, and then we'll come back.
I was gonna okay, so just kind of feature these 2 Detroit deals, and then we got a couple of deals in Texas and Oklahoma. So I'm gonna leave it as a cliffhanger for everyone to kind of stay after John's talk.
That's right.
And John, I'm gonna pass the mic over to you. Pass the stage to you.
Sounds good. I don't know why I keep clicking the wrong thing, but yeah, it was. Come on, Steve was lying. I wasn't taking a vacation. I was working like a dog. Okay.
You were traveling.
Yeah, because my son goes to Oxford University, and I flew to London to send his luggage. I'm basically a human luggage carrier. Okay.
So, well, I hope you get to see something new, and and I guess it's kind of a break, right? It's kind of
yeah. But, Steve wants to pump up y'all. I did relax a couple of days. Steve is not lying.
It's very important, I think. Yeah. Right? We gotta have some downtime just to think.
So, exactly. Well, I made a plan long time ago, 8 years ago, that I would devote my life for the well-beings, for the greatest goodness of my people, folks, but starting off with my family. So I would really want to be there for my family anytime they need it. So this is the chance, right? He's studying at the Oxford. Besides, I would like to visit the school, and his college is established in 1314. And I want to touch the history. I want to feel, I want to breathe it. So, I decided to be the human luggage carrier for him, which is great, the reward. It was very intense, especially when you sit on the right and drive on the left. Oh my God, that's just scary. That's scary. There was one day, I'm going to show you a picture if we got time. There was one day I was driving, actually, when I make a turn, the road is so narrow compared to Texas road. And then all of a sudden I see a tank driving towards me. And it's just such a narrow road. I don't know how to hide from the tank. So basically I have to pull all the way to the wall. There's a stone wall, probably 1,000 years old stone wall. I have to just push myself against it. I don't know how to distance myself from the edge, because I made a big mistake of renting a big SUV. I was stupid. That was very stupid. I should have get the smallest car.
Your luggage.
Yeah. But, small car will fit in the luggage anyway. But I thought driving a big truck always feel good. No, it's not. It's scary. So the tank drove towards me, and I literally just squeezed myself as tight as possible to the stone wall. And then, luckily the tank passed by. It was a venture, all right. And every day I was nervous driving.
We went to London for a few days last year, kind of first time, and what I noticed, the sidewalk is so narrow, and you can barely walk through. So when you're the one on the left side going through, you're really close to the street.
Yeah,
it's kind of scary.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you almost feel like people can push you off and get you run over.
it's real tight over there. So
Yeah,
it's nice to
crazy.
be, in the States, in Texas, where there's so much more room.
Here we go. I love Texas. That can't change my mind, right? No matter how old that place is, how prestigious it is, it wouldn't change my mind. All right. Let's get to the point. All right. So today I'm going to talk the first part of a tax. Okay. I don't know how many of you were very familiar with a tax. Let me start it off by saying something maybe a little bit controversial. Steve heard me saying that before. I said, if you're running a church or if you're running a company as an entrepreneur, either way, you're an entrepreneur, right? I mean, being a startup company owner, or a startup church, pastor, minister, reverend, whatever you want to call it. If you don't know how to file tax, you basically are throwing your money away. Let me say that one more time. If you don't understand how to file tax, or you never file tax, you're basically throwing money away. Let me give you an example. There was one year, one of my consulting companies, we did extremely well. And my wife says, you always did your own tax. And why don't you, because this year is so complicated, right? You got a lot of employees, and you got a lot of international trips, and you got a lot of, private equity investment in you. And why don't you use a CPA? And I listened to her. By the way, I come from investment banking and then private equity background, right? Investing. That's my bread and butter. But I listened to her. So we hired this contractor, the CPA in Plano, if y'all know where that is. And then it took a extension, and then it took 3 months or 4 months of back and forth and do all these stuff until November. So first of all, I have a sense of a taxation, right? So I said, I'm going to go buy one of these, 6,000-pound, SUV, and to do a quick write-off, and so I don't have to pay that much, right? Remember 2 weeks ago I talked about the tax and different way of a taxation, right? And the CPA said, no, you can't do it. I said, man, I do this all the time. And the CPA said, well, you can't do that because A, B, C, D. She scared me so much. I said, all right, I'm going to hold off. So in the end, she calculated and that I have to pay a 6-digit tax that year, right? I said, you know what, though? I'm going to go buy a truck no matter what. She said, yeah, you could. But it was a freaking Christmas time, all right? So I went to dealership. I went to Tesla dealership, and I said, I'm going to just, go there and buy their most expensive Tesla, whatever car. And guess what? The day I visit them, they closed the door for Christmas. So ended up that year, I paid a 6-digit tax, and then I could have saved myself a lot of trouble. I could have bought a boat or something. So again, though, I was silly that year by listening to the wrong people. In the end, all she did was incorrect. Okay. So the question is, how come that CPA didn't plan it? Well, she is one of the most renowned, prestigious CPA. You pay a lot of money to get her time to do tax filing. But in the end, you don't even get to see her, right? You only talk to her assistant, who is only 20-year-old, doesn't even know much than what I knew, right? But that's the price you pay. So I wasted 6-digit, a lot of money, okay, that year. Not only that year, twice a year. I got stumbled over her twice, right? But anyway, so you need to, as an entrepreneur, you need to file your tax. You need to understand how to file your tax and understand the concepts. So today, I'm going to give you some concepts to get started, and enough dangerous. I'm going to make you enough dangerous that you're going to see something that you never heard of before. Okay? All right, let's get started. So let's take a look at this chart, right? This chart is showing something, what we call tax impact on retirement. So for retirement, there are a lot of impacts, okay? There is the overall money you have. inflation, tax, return on investment, and the timing. Okay, the time and the timing, both. And in later this month, I'll probably give you a talk about retirement planning. But anyway, so if you look at this, and scenario one, there is no tax deferral. So basically, you earn money, you pay tax, like your real estate, gaining value, and you pay tax, right? There are two different return rates, 4% and 8%. If it's a 4% return on your investment whatsoever, and you have to pay tax as you gain some capital gains or you make profits, then you, in order to save $1 million for your retirement goal, okay, you need to save every month, okay, you need to save $1,843, okay, because of that, no tax. I mean, there is no tax difference, so you have to pay tax every year, and the return of your investment is pretty low. Well, to a lot of folks, a long-term rental is about a 4%, okay, and this is a scenario one. But what if you're able to boost it to 8% return? Now, good news, you only have to save $1,100 a month, okay, so $700 so you can put into expenses and you can do something else. Let's look at a scenario number two, which is that allow you to defer your tax. Okay, so that means you don't have to pay tax the year of taxation. You only get taxed when you start taking money out of that investment. Okay, still same 4% return. You only need to put $1,400 into monthly savings. Okay, but what if it's an 8% return? Then you actually put in only $700. What does that mean? If you are able to get a better return and you are able to defer the tax, you're going to be able to use smaller money to save for your retirement. Okay, make sense so far? Hopefully, okay? Usually get to this point, Steve, people will argue with me, say, John, your calculation is wrong, your math is all backward. Well, okay, I usually I would calculate on a piece of paper to show them, right? But you know what, though? I saved the trouble today because I'm going to show you the next slide. I'm going to give you a quiz, all right? Simple math, really simple math, okay? If you have $1, okay, and you double 20 times without a taxation, how much money you got? All right, anybody want to venture that? You got $1, doubled it 20 times, always 100% return, okay? Without any taxation, how much money would you get after the 20 times of the doubling? Anyone wants to venture it? Give it a shot. Don't be scared like a kid. There's no real money on the table, okay? It's just mathematical game. A lot. Okay, Alberto, I love you. I mean, a lot. Okay, how much a lot? Because the number is very important. I want you to have a sense. After today's, my short presentation and introduction, you're going to be so sharp, okay? You're going to be so sharp about the numbers. Give me a number. 40,000? Okay, thank you, Lisa. Good guess. Anybody else?
I'm asking ChatGPT.
You can't do that. You can't do that. We're talking about I'm gonna equip you so much that the numbers will just come to your fingertip, right? In the future. Yeah, you got to be really sharp at that. Tamala is really number person, if you can see. All right, 40, only 40. Okay, anybody else wants to venture a number? Steve, throw in a number.
1,048,576.
Somebody cheated. Somebody cheated. Yeah, you got it. It's $1,048,000. Okay, you got it. So now, if you take the same $1, double it 20 times, but hold on, let me back off a little bit. Did you get? I mean, without a calculator, can you guess that? $1 double 20 times, you get a $1 million. Can you even guess that? No, you can't. You don't. But now you know it. It's called the compound effect, right? Okay, now let's take a look of how much of a damage taxation would do to your money. Let's say you have to pay 33% income tax. Okay, so how much money you got left? Simple math, right? Well, how much of the tax you pay? Well, it's very simple. It's a 28,000. Okay, you got to pay that tax. Got it? Okay. So what if you are putting this money into a deferred account and you don't have to pay tax right away, right? And after that, you start taking money after 59 and a half, and how much, right? I mean, how much you have left over. Okay, so we already see that. $1 double 20 times without taxation is $1 million. But if you have to pay 33% income tax every year, you only got $28,000 total after 20 times of double. You got it? From 1 million, you drop to 28,000. So let's take a look of a tax difference. Basically, you can defer the tax, okay, till you use it as if you are using 401k. How much money you got? Let's take a look. Oops. Today's computer is not in control. All right. So if you use a 401k, actually you have a little bit of more money left, which is $330,000 instead of a $28,000. Are you getting the math right? How many of you guessed the math right? $1 million without paying any tax. Okay. If you have to pay tax 33% every year, you only got $28,000 left, okay, in total. But if you can defer the tax till 20 years later, okay, you still pay 33% income. When you start taking out the money, you still have a third of your $1 million in your pockets. You see the difference? Huge difference. Okay, so that's why they said number one enemy to your wealth besides procrastination is taxation. Okay, so today we're going to go really sharp to the point. All right, so first of all, I'm going to show you a chart. This chart is going to shock you because Steve mentioned about something of that one big beautiful act, right? Tax act. So if that act was not put in law, what you're going to look at is if you are making the tax bracket in this year, say 32% tax bracket, okay, you're a good investor, you're making a lot of capital gains, and you're making good income. And once, if they didn't have the one big beautiful act, you're going to end up paying 1% more. Okay, if actually you have been very smart with your money and you have a lot of write-offs and everything, you actually were able to lower your tax to 24%, right? Let's say in the past 4 years, 5 years, you have been enjoying 24% tax bracket. And then if without the one big beautiful act, guess what's going to happen? You're going to end up paying 4% more. Okay, that's how bad it is without the one big beautiful act. So that act saved a lot of us, okay, especially our entrepreneurs. So let me show you the terminology of a tax. Anybody knows federal income tax? You know, Texas is a federal income tax. We don't have a state income tax, which is great, right? That saves you 20, 30% of your income. And we have a payroll tax, which is including Social Security and Medicare, and you have to pay for it. People don't probably know how much you're paying for it. Okay, if you are employed by someone, they pay 8.2%. You pay 8.2% out of your salary. But if you are self-employed, you have to pay the 16.4% by yourself. Okay, in order to get the Social Security benefits and Medicare, right? And also, there are qualified dividends and capital gain tax. Those are things that could be short term, long term, right? Long term is better because it's a 15%. In a second, I'm going to talk about. So what is income tax bracket? Because I just told you, 24%. Without a one big beautiful act, it will become 28%. Okay, it's pretty bad, right? So what does that mean? Okay, so first of all, it's the last dollar. It's not the total amount taxed at that rate. It's the last dollar. The next is, what is the effective tax rate? Okay, effective tax rate is basically calculating all the bracket. Basically, for each bracket, there is a tax rate, okay, and the total amount. And this whole thing that you pay for tax divided by your total amount of income, that is called the effective tax rate. People use average tax rate, which doesn't really help much, okay? But effective tax rate is very important. Gross income is important, okay? Gross income is basically your total income, deduct all the expenses and whatever as a business owner or entrepreneur, right? However, if you work for someone and if you are in, let's say, a corporate 401k plan or all that, and you actually invested for your own IRA, right? Those have to be added back, okay? So it will be becoming a adjusted gross income, right? Okay, and the worst is called a Maggie, all right? We are all scared of a Maggie. It's a modified adjusted gross income. That's when you add back all these, employers, benefits and all that, and your self sponsored retirement and some of other investments, right? That's the Maggie, okay? And taxable income is after all the deductions exempt, that's the total taxable income. But then when you add everything back, then that's become a Maggie. This is 2017. As you can see, if you are making $150,000, your tax bracket is 25%. Okay, just keep that number on your mind, please. Okay, now I'm going to use this number later on. But if you look at the 2023, okay, still married fine jointly, 70%. Remember the $75,000? Well, $153,000 to 75. Okay, this is a 25% bracket. Fast forward in 2023. How much is your tax bracket? 22%. This is 25%. This is 22%. How's that happening? Well, some people say, oh, it's because of the Biden, tax bracket. No, it's not. It's something called a Secure Act, okay? Was implemented and signed into the law by President Trump in 2020, and the first one was 2016, okay? It's all because of that, right? And after 2020, they were trying to, hike this up, right? So ended up with people paying more tax, right? So, we're not talking about politics, but you need to understand whoever you put into the office is going to affect your retirement and the life, right? I think everybody agreed with me because we're in Texas. So if you look at this, right, there are marginal tax, all different bracket, and their effective tax, right? You put them all together and calculate a total tax that you pay out of your pockets. That's called effective tax, right? So if you look at this, gross income is this. Remember last time I compared employee and self-employed and business owner? Remember that? So now you deduct the business expenses as an entrepreneur, right? And you put it into 401k and a retirement plan. Those are the things we call it Aggie, okay? Aggie, not A&M, okay? It's Aggie. And of course, you have a standard deductions or whatever included, right? So after that, that is a taxable income. However, Maggie modified adjusted gross income is going to be different because you need to add back some of the deductions, okay, and some of the itemized. Okay, Social Security, already talked a little bit about it. It used to be only 6.2% back in 2016, and right now it's 8.2%. Can you see that? Did I say that? Yes. After 2020, actually, they hiked up that portion. And of course, there are other things. I'm not going to go through all the detail, but essentially, is that this is published by the Social Security Office all the time, and you need to have a copy of it. Okay, so it will tell you what is the full retirement age, and what is the cost of a living adjustment. What is this? This is basically a inflation, reported inflation. Okay, reported inflation. In 2020, 2021, I showed people the Social Security chart, this chart. It was reported 9% adjusted living, cost of living. Basically, they said the inflation was low, but it was a lie. It was 9% inflation. Okay. Capital gain, we're talking about capital gain is basically talking about if you have a long term and short term, right? 15% is a long term. But if it's a short term, less than a year, then you got to pay as if it's out of your income. Okay. Higher tax is the only solution at this point this country is facing. I don't know if you agree or not. You don't have to agree with me because it's a reality. You want to see how's that going? Okay, let's take a look over the chart. So this chart is made by the government. Okay, the US GDP is 24 some trillion dollars, but our national debt is $37 trillion. Okay, so the debt to GDP ratio is over 120% as of 2025. Okay, we're here. Okay, we're here. What does that mean? All right, let's do a comparison. Back in World War II, the similar level of the ratio. Can you see that? Back to World War II is about 110% debt to GDP ratio. What was the top tax bracket? Anyone know or can guess? Well, it was 99%. Okay, you got to 90% to 99%, which means you take $100 back, you got to pay $99 debt. Tax. Okay, so that was the top tax bracket back in World War II. However, if you look at our tax, right, our tax is historical low, extremely low. And while our tax bracket is so low, yet our debt is so high. If you look at this, our top tax bracket is still remaining around 37% versus back in World War II, right? So what do you think the trend of the tax is going? Well, it's going to go up for sure. It will go up for sure. So if we look at something more educational here for awareness purposes, look back in 2013. The law, 2013, there were tax law changes. They changed the new tax bracket, right? It was Obama, right? Obama in the office, and then, tax was high. And Medicare surtax and then personal exemption reduced for high income owners. Capital gain tax increased. That was then. And then if you keep looking, these, no changes. It does not impose any new tax on the following stuff. Okay, following stuff. Okay, so what does that mean? The first page. That means if you invest in stock, mutual fund, real estate, everything get more expensive because you got to pay tax. Okay, the tax go up too. However, if your money stays in these products or financial instrument, the tax actually don't go up. It doesn't change even during the Obama time. All right. Okay. So if we look at 2023 tax change, remember, Trump is gone and Biden came into the office and they tried to change the tax law again and try to increase all the tax bracket. This was happening. 401k, 403b, retirement, Roth, and insurance don't change. Okay, what does that tell you? What does that tell you? There are certain investment assets, no matter who is in office, they don't change tax rate. Hopefully that is a bell in your heart. Ding, 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 right? You got to be smart on that, right? So when a lot of people cherish about the most recent One Big Beautiful Act, there's a worry because the things didn't get it written into the law will change after 4 years, after another 3 years, okay? Because they're bad people that just try to take more money out of your pockets, okay? So what's going to happen after 2028, okay? All right, so maybe you should consider some of these assets in order to, reduce your tax exposure. So there is a smart money order. I'm going to show you briefly, okay? So first of all, you got to get a free money. Anybody knows free money? Yeah, 401k is free money. Anything else? Well, if you use a high deductible health saving account, high deductible health insurance, you get a health saving. That's free money. Flexible spending account, even though it's a small amount of money, that's a free money because most of the employers will give you a match up. Okay, match, right? If you work for yourself, you still can do a match for yourself too. Okay, but talk to the financial professionals before you do so, right? And we can talk offline on that. After the free money, what do? Next thing is called tax-free money. Tax-free money. That's very, very important, right? The next one would be tax-deferred money. Okay. The last is taxable money. Okay. If we take a look of this chart, I'm going to show you. Tax now are the money that you make. You got to pay tax right away. Okay. Checking, saving, CD, mutual fund, and the rental properties, is actually all taxed now. Tax later are pretty much like those retirement money, retirement pension, self-made pension, IRA, 401k, 403b, 512e. Anybody heard about it? 456. Okay, those are different tax IRS tax code. Those are deferred tax, just like my example. Okay, you don't pay tax right away, but when you start taking money out, you still have to pay money. Investment property is part of a tax later benefit. Okay, so you don't pay tax all the way through, but ultimately you have to pay some tax. However, there is a third one, which is called tax-free. People know about a Roth IRA. Okay, Roth IRA is really, really good. However, it's a small amount. It's only $7,000. If you're 50 years old and above, you can do $750, right? It's not a whole lot of money. But there's another thing is called HSA. Already talking about it. High deductible health insurance account. You can save $7,200 a year for your medical bills. Okay, in the future, which is totally tax free. Okay, before you file tax, and the growth you can invest as well is tax free. And when you use it, it's tax free as well. Okay, HSA is a big, beautiful thing. Most people don't even realize, right? And then the next thing is called a 529. So if you got children and you have a lot of income and you want to put some cash away for their education purposes, 529 is pretty good. But if you're a moderate income, don't do that because it will hurt your children's, scholarship and then grants. We call it a college fund, right? Federal college sponsorship of grants. Okay, that will hurt it. But if you have a grandchildren, you can save 529 for your grandchildren, which is not counted towards their asset and doesn't hurt their financial aid. Okay. The last one is called 7702. These are tax code. This is a cash value life insurance. All right. And the investment is tax free. And when you use the money, it's tax free as well. So all these, plus one more thing is called municipal bond. The interest is completely tax-free, okay? So those 5 things are tax-free. And in planning for tax, okay, I educated myself so long, right? And I file tax every year myself. Even after, got cheated by the CPA, I still go back and do my own tax now. It's not that painful, okay? Mine's very complicated, but still I can do it. Right? You use TurboTax to do it, right? And the tax planning principle is you plan from right to left, okay, like holding a knife by the handle. But if you don't do that, it's like holding a knife by the blade. You're going to cut yourself left and right. And not only you're not going to save any money after your hard work, you are also going to hurt your heritage for your children or for your retirement, for sure. Okay, so hopefully, what I said make a whole lot of sense, right? Next time, I'm going to talk about something very interesting. Okay, very interesting. It's actually in conjunction with the tax plan. Is something what I called the wealth family's secret formula. Wealthy families secret formula. Okay, I just talked to you about the smarter money order, but I also got 2 weeks ago I talked about the wealth formula, right? I talked about the smarter money order, but the next time I'm going to talk about the wealthy family's secret recipe or formula. It's called. You ready? You ready? You ready? Steve, are you ready? You never heard this. Okay. You ready? Okay. It's called buy, borrow, die. Buy, borrow, die. And I'm going to talk about what is cash, what is asset, and what is net worth. And I'm going to teach you how to calculate your net worth. Okay. Most of the people don't know how to calculate net worth. And once you do that, once you finish next one, my introduction, you're going to be so like, wow, I need to build up my net worth. Okay. That's your conclusion. You will draw a conclusion called net worth based planning. All right. With that said, folks, I'm going to yield the stage back to Steve, and hopefully you had some fun.
Thank you, John. Really like the topic today, and I look forward to more talks very soon. Okay, so I promised a couple more deals, so thanks for staying all the way. This is a deal in Oklahoma, in a city called El Reno. You can see this is actually a property acquired during the foreclosure auction. So there's a lot of work, as you can see, that's involved. Okay, 2 bed, 1 bath, possibly a rental. One thing I want to say is that these properties are, it's the asking price is OBO, so it's kind of a guidance, right? Your offer doesn't need to be this price. Obviously, if there are multiple bids, you might have to be offering more than this. But if you're savvy, you want to make sure that you bid at a price where you can make money.
That's right.
Okay, this is a property, really close to. This is basically kind of San Antonio. Van Orme is a property right next to, right by San Antonio. This one is rent ready, a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom, $250. And we got a couple of deals in our pipeline. Okay, we got some in Arlington. There's a Jacksonville, Texas. We got some land in the work there. Grand Prairie, Houston. Lago Vista is just a little bit north of Austin. Martin, Waco is kind of like the Central Texas area. Now that brings us to a couple of new programs that we want to launch. We have been kind of immersed in the deals, and we really understand the pain point, whether you're just kind of starting out or if you're an experienced investor. So we actually have 2 programs. This one is a deal accelerator program. It's for new investors. So for new investors, what we understand your needs are, have somebody holding your hand to kind of walk through what it's like to find the deals, analyze the deals, and making the deals, right? And put the deal under contract. And in support of that, off-market motivate seller leads, right? It's kind of really the starting point of finding the deals. If you need actual deals, you have the deals program to support you, along with funding in terms of to help you kind of acquire these properties. So these are limited seats for every market. And if you're interested in applying, just email me. And I'll just let results speak for themselves, right? We got a track record so far, 10 months, acquired 6 properties, 12 doors, and it's starting to cash flow. The next program is for more experienced investors, okay? And for experienced investors, what we are lacking is a healthy pipeline, right? Just kind of having consistent marketing, consistent appointments where we can just kind of keep the deals flowing, right? Because a lot of our operations kind of depends on having a consistent deal flow. And so here we're offering off-market motivated seller leads. We'll also have hot leads. These are the ones that go, they're motivated to sell and they want to sell, right? They raise their hand and go, I want to sell. I want to know how much my house is worth. The next level up would be closing appointments, right? They actually want you to go see the property. We'll make the appointment for you. We'll qualify them. And you just need to go in and kind of close the deal. And again, the deals and the liquidity are the kind of part of the anchor where if you need a deal, right? We send you the appointment. You need a deal. We can get you the deal. And also at a little more advanced stage, the liquidity becomes important for an investor. So we also have that available for you. These are track records, right, for filling the pipeline in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. 5 deals under contract in under 60 days. Houston, we got a deal in 30 days, probably under 20 days, to be honest. And in Austin, we got a deal under 20 days.
That's right.
So these are, to me, they are kind of very premium offering. We don't offer it to everybody. Just very limited seating. We want to really work with a qualified person because the next step, as you can see, is we will be working with a deal partner. After the deal maker program, you become a deal partner, and then we really work very closely in getting these deals together. So we'll be working very closely hand in hand. All right. Again, if you're interested, send me an email by Friday. And if you're curious about, just any programs that we have, you can scan this QR code and reserve a time with us. And we're more than happy to chat with you and really help you supporting your journey to success. These are upcoming events. Every week we have 5 events. This is the beginning. This is the first of the 5 events. Tonight we have a class on overcoming top 10 investor concerns. This class is really good for if you're looking into buy and hold as the main strategy. And tomorrow we have a deal makers meetup, right, where we're actually gonna use the time to do actual outreach and kind of do the actual deals. You can participate in an audit if you like. We already have a cohort that we meet up and we use the time to pursue the deals, right? To take action on the deals. And then at 11 a.m., John is gonna lead this Friday open house, right, where we talk about all the programs that Real Estate IQ has to offer and kind of what we're building towards the future, right? All of these are kind of put together for a reason. And so if you're interested in participating and getting more involved, definitely check that out and definitely talk to us too. And then Saturday, we have a rerun for this evening. Okay, to end this session, want to really preach that it's about taking actions. We can sit on the sideline and strategize and think it's a great idea, until we take the execution, learn it the hard way. We haven't really started, so it's about just starting the journey and take the journey, start your journey with us. John, you got any parting words for this week?
Yeah, I do. I think you're right. So take action, but not take uncalculated, random actions. And you can run fast as an individual, but it's always to be part of a group. You can go a long way. And that's what I learned from entrepreneurship and then investment. And you got to find the right people to be partnered with and then join force together to leverage each other. And that's why we built this platform. regardless. There are some groups, they have hundreds of people, but they do nothing, right? They just have fun. But we here, even though we're like an elite group of folks, we take actions right away. We coach each other, and we cover all the diverse topics so that we not only just get properties, but we also take care of tax, we take care of, retirement, all that stuff that we all need. Otherwise, what's the point of spending the time to do all these investments? You got to do it with a purpose, right? That's what I'm going to talk about tomorrow, 11 o'clock. And that's more like for a entrepreneurship 201, right? For people who's ready to take on building a business or getting serious about it. And I'm going to give some tips about how to do it. And if you're interested in building other, coffee shop, I had a coffee shop before. I run a restaurant before. I have a pretty big consulting business. And I also have, financial advisory business. And we do tax as well, right? I mean, all that, Alisa, you got a life insurance agent, insurance. That's great. License. That's awesome. Security license, right? Can you do like qualified investment, right? All these, let's join forces together. That's my point. So I would encourage you to get to, find your sweet spot and then be part of us, right?
Reach out to the person who invited you, or feel free to reach out to us. And we look forward to getting to know you. Let's partner together.
That's right.
We're gonna do more together.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cheers, everybody. Have a great Thursday and rest of the weekend. Bye-bye.
Good day. God bless.